So the idea of wearing red, is that true?
What do you mean by wearing red is true?
Can I wear red?
If you wear, it's only prohibited, or let's say disliked makruh, if you're wearing a full, so we're talking about the two-piece garments, and it doesn't have any other colors on it. So if you have a logo that is a different color, you're already out of the equation there. If you have a logo that is
Okay.
black, you're out of the equation. If you're wearing a t-shirt that is red and something else that is black, you're out of the equation. And this was actually a lot of people say, okay, why would your God be like upset that you're wearing a color or something like that, or some lazy argument like that? But the reason is mentioned in the hadith. The Prophet said the people of the book at that time, they would wear this type of clothing, so differentiate yourself from them.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not like, oh, Allah doesn't like the color red or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Like,
It was
some
talking
people are like,
about.
oh, God doesn't like the color. This is the color of blood or the color of this is all nonsense. The hadith itself mentions the reason.
Yeah, so it was talking about the war at the time. So they were wearing, you know, some enemies were wearing saffron, some were wearing red. So you didn't want to identify as the enemy.
Yeah, so the people of the book would wear clothing that is like saffron dyed. So the Prophet said, don't dress. But it's not only that. The Prophet said many things, right? Like Prophet said, let your beard grow, for example, and trim your mustache, because the people of the book do the opposite,
Mm-hmm.
right? They would grow their mustaches or whatever and shave their beards. So he said, differentiate yourself from them. For example, the Prophet said, pray in your shoes, because the Jews and the Christians don't pray in their shoes, but the shoes has to be clean, of course, like has to be completely clean. There's nothing in it, right? But there's many teachings which the Prophet specifically commanded, in which differentiates Muslims from other religions. And it's very important people to understand. We don't have this idea of compromise. We'll do the same thing as you guys are doing. No, Muslims are tradition, and Christianity is a tradition, Judaism is a tradition. We have our own tradition, you have your own traditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even fasting on the day of Ashura, the Prophet say, because the Jewish people fast that day, but fast the day before and the day after. So you don't do like them. So you do something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is so many traditions like this. So Prophet Muhammad was clear that, okay, the Jewish people this is something specific to them, right? We're not talking about things that we and them do. Both of us do. That's fine. You're not imitating them. If you're like, we all eat the same way, we all maybe dress the same clothing today. That's not imitating. But things which they only do, like for example, wearing a cross. It's not, you cannot have a Muslim walking around like wearing a cross.
Mm-hmm.
That's something specific for the people of the book, of course, and it has all of this symbolic value behind it, the idea of like crucifixion and all of that, which we don't believe in.
Right. And you
So yeah,
mentioned
this idea of red, I mean, is blown out of proportion for sure.